Is an academic title conferred upon the student who delivers a closing or farewell speech at a graduation ceremony. The valedictorian traditionally is the highest ranking student in the graduating class. The valedictorian address is a final farewell to classmates before they disperse to pursue their individual paths after graduation. It is my pleasure to introduce the valedictorian for class of 2014, Brianne Roper.
Good evening, class of 2014. We made it. Congratulations to all of you for making it to this milestone. I wanted to take a little moment to thank all of our parents, friends, and anyone else who helped us to get to this point. We did not accomplish this alone. Also, a special round of applause to Mr. Peter Domenico and all of the tech people in the back. Without you, this event would be impossible. In this season of our lives, we are constantly told of the successes and the wonderful things that will happen in our future. These may be true, yet there are also going to be times of struggle and failure. My premise this evening is this: the person or thing that we turn to in failure shapes our destiny and defines us. So I begin this evening by telling you a story about a time when I messed up. It was the end of the day on a fall afternoon my freshman year. The bell rang, and I shuffled through the rushing students to reach my locker, get my homework, and make it to the buses on time. I put in my combination, 27, 36, 18. My locker didn't open. I tried again, 27, 36, 18. Still not opening. Third time's the charm, right? 27, 36, 18. Nothing. So then I began to get a little nervous because my window of opportunity to make the bus was getting smaller and smaller by the minute, and I still had yet to open up my locker. After the fourth try, I figured my locker must be jammed. So I looked around, and my good friend Keenan Bowers was standing right by his locker. So I called him over to help. I told him my combination, 27, 36, 18. He tried it, but to no avail. By now, all the buses had left, and my locker was still locked, and my phone was in my locker, and I was the center of a freshman's worst nightmare. Keenan grabbed an upperclassman friend of his, and I told him my combination again, and even this upperclassman could not get it open. So he started to body slam my locker. But as I stared wide-eyed, my locker still refused to be open. I finally admitted defeat and went to the office to ask for help. I went to the office secretary and said, "My locker is jammed. Is there anyone who can help me?" "What's your name?" she asked. "Brianne Roper." She typed in the computer. "What combination have you been using?" 27, 36, 18, I said. She looked confused. "Well," she replied, "your actual combination is 10, 26, 18. Why don't you go try that?" I was blushing with embarrassment. I'd been using the wrong combination the entire time. I returned to my locker and put in 10, 26, 18, and sure enough, my locker opened right up. I called my dad, and he came and picked me up, and I cried all the way home. Stinking hats. And ever since then, I've always kept a copy of my combination in my agenda just in case. You know, the entire time I was convinced I was right, when I was completely wrong. And although Keenan and the upperclassmen were awesome for helping me, they didn't know the combination. The only way I got out of that situation was by going to the right person to find my answer. The combination that led to my success was a direct result of going to the proper source. The outcome was directly associated with where I looked for answers. The process of looking for answers shows something deeper about ourselves. The thing or person that we rely on for answers reveals what we worship. When I say worship, I don't just mean singing hymns in a church. I mean what we truly value. One of Merriam-Webster's definitions of worship is extravagant respect, admiration for, or devotion to an object of esteem. David Foster Wallace, a non-religious man, said one time in a commencement speech this: "There is no such thing as not worshiping. Everybody worships. The only choice we get is what to worship." Sadly, he never found anything worth worshiping before he tragically passed away. When we mess up, are confused, or feel lost about what's next, what we cling to for answers, meaning, and stability is what we worship. And what we worship determines the outcome of the story. My challenge for you this evening, class of 2014, is to ask yourself if what you worship is worth worshiping. Naturally, we all worship ourselves because in each of our minds, we are the center of the universe. But you won't always know all the answers, even when you think you do. 27, 36, 18 is not 10, 26, 18. If you worship outward appearances, there will be always someone better looking than you. If you worship social acceptance, there will always be someone with more followers on Twitter and gets more likes on their selfies than you. If you worship schoolwork and GPA, one day you will graduate and it'll just be a number. If you worship having a good time, it ends when the party's over. None of these objects of esteem will ever be enough to carry you through life. What you worship, what you give extravagant respect and admiration to, it gives you meaning. It defines you. As individuals, we have the power to choose what defines us because we have the freedom to choose what we worship. For those of you who know me, you know of whom I worship. As we enter the unknown and experience real life, which includes both success and failure, we have the opportunity to choose what we worship. And that's the one critical piece that will determine whether or not we get that locker open. So my question for you, class of 2014, is what will you worship? Thank you.
It is my honor to introduce Mr. David Woods, Superintendent of Schools, who will present this year's graduating class.
Good evening.